You're watching E.T.N. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to do a focus video on one of the games I am so excited about that came out of E3, and that is Final Fantasy VII, coming out March of next year, which is close enough for me to get excited. Now, in this video, we're going to kind of talk about some of the things we heard. Now, look, I know I'm not breaking anything here. This is old news, but I still want to discuss it because I'm a fan of the game. I want to hear what you guys have to say of it if you've been a fan, and maybe we can share a dialogue. Now, there are some things concerning me about the game right out the gate. I want to get those out the way before I get to the stuff I'm excited about. One of the things that has me a little concerned is releasing it in an episodic way, which is what we've heard. And apparently we're getting like, what, 10% of the game this time around on 2 Blu-ray discs. Now look, love it. I love the fact that they're making this world so huge, because one of the things I remember about Final Fantasy VII was the amount of content that was in that game, even for a PlayStation era game. I mean, I remember the game had, what, 3 discs, almost 4 discs? And I'm trying to remember, is it 3 discs? I don't have the original anymore. But anyway, it was multiple discs. We know that. I think it was 3 discs, though. And that was just, I mean, the amount of stuff the side quests, the weapons that you had to fight, all, finding Yuffie, getting Vincent, making sure you got those done, making sure you got all the summons, Bahamut Neo, and things like that. So the game's content was incredible. So this tells me that on the scale that they're making the game, that we're going to get all that content, maybe some more. So that excites me, but episodic is a concern because I've went through this before, and I went through this with StarCraft. And a lot of you guys know, and again, this is something I'm going to do in a separate video talking about why there's not that many video game videos on an Entertainment Talk Nation channel, and I'll get into that in a separate video because you are going to see a lot more of them. StarCraft 2 came out, and they did the same thing. And the only thing I think that saved, or at least made people tolerate that approach, was the fact that even though the first game of StarCraft 2 was about the Terrans and Jim Raynor and all that, you still got to play as the Zerg and the Protoss. You couldn't use them in a campaign, but if you were playing competitively, you could still use them. But those 2 games that followed, Heart of the Swarm and I think Legacy of the Void, it took some time for those games to come out. I mean, I'm pull it up real quick, but I believe it was like a 6-year, it took a while. I mean, I think Legacy of the Void came out in 2016, and I mean, yeah, it's look at it here. 2010 was StarCraft Wings of Liberty. 2013 was Heart of the Swarm, so 3 years for the next campaign. And then for Legacy of the Void, 2015, so it's 2 years, so I was wrong, 2015. Now, the reason that doesn't hurt a game like StarCraft is because StarCraft is a strategy game, and like I said, even though a lot of people play the campaign, but it's really the competitive aspect of the game. And you could still play the game competitively because, as I said, when you played Wings of Liberty, you could still use the Protoss and the Zerg. When you played Heart of the Swarm, same thing. You could still use the Protoss, you could still use the Terrans. Even though the campaigns were set by each race, Wings of Liberty Terrans, Heart of the Swarm Zerg, and so on, you were still able to access the other factions, the other, races. With a game like Final Fantasy VII, you don't have that luxury. If your first game is centered on Midgar, then there's a lot of characters we may not see in that first game. I mean, Red 13 doesn't come till much later. I mean, you get him towards the end of Midgar in the original game. How much of Midgar do we get in this game? I mean, you might get him, if they do Midgar the whole game from the beginning of the storyline of Midgar to the very end where you escape, and that's the end of this first chapter or this first episode, then you're going to get Red 13, but you're not really going to get to use him very much. And then you figure like real popular characters like Vincent, who's one of my favorite characters, Yuffie, don't come till much later, So that's a bit of a concern, you know. And the other problem is that when they do that, you're going to be paying for the other episodes. Now, that's okay with me depending on the price point. So I'll use StarCraft as an example again. When Wings of Liberty came out, it was a full, I believe full, either $49 or $59.99 at retail. When Heart of the Swarm came out, I believe it was $39, and I'm pretty sure Legacy of the Void was $39 as well. Not full price, still fairly expensive, but you were getting a whole full campaign from that particular race. Yes, it was linked to the first one, but it's its own full campaign. With Final Fantasy VII, what's going to happen is, as these episodes come out, you're going to start weighing the amount of story you're getting versus either the first or the last. And then you have to kind of figure out, am I getting the full value for the price point they're giving me? So that's another concern. Overall, I mean, if the game is good and they deliver on content, then there may be nothing to complain about. But this is going to kind of link into my next video where I talk about why there's not so much game content on E.T.N. It's something I spoke about on the stream that I did last night, the last minute stream, and it's something I kind of want to focus into a video because it's a realization I came to actually while watching E3. Now, on the plus side of all that, this game looks incredible. And looking at the highlights, I was just floored. I mean, while it looks so different, and while the combat style is so different, the heart is still there. That the same thematic look, you know, how Midgar was so dark, and, you know, even though these are new scenes and new ways of filming them for the game, there's still very signature moments that you recognize from the original game, and that is important. And if they keep that consistent going forward through the development and releasing these episodes, this is going to be a huge hit for them. The combat style, look, I love the original RPG turn-based style, but I've also grown to love the live-action style. I actually love Final Fantasy XII. That's one of my other favorite Final Fantasies, and that was one of the first games that kind of introduced that. So I'm cool with it. I think it looks good. You still have a lot of the core moves that these characters are known for, like the limit breaks. They may not be called limit breaks anymore. There's a gauge now that you have to fill up to do said, like a cross slash or a brave. What was it, brave? I forget what it was called. His first limit burst before you get cross slash. But anyway, they were showing it in the trailer. It just looked amazing. Now, there was something about Tifa being a... I didn't hear this mentioned when I was watching it, but a couple of rumors I heard was that some of the characters might be DLC, which I hope that's not the case. But if they're gonna DLC these characters along with, I mean, I guess I can't blame them for trying to monetize the whole thing because they know people are gonna go for it. It's a little disappointing. I hope it's not true, but we'll have to see. Right now, overall, I'm in a very positive state of mind for the game. I don't mind episodic releases. They're not the first game to do that, and I was cool with the way StarCraft did it when I played StarCraft. And if you play games like The Walking Dead, you know, from Telltale, that's fine as long as the price point's right and as long as the amount of content you're getting is right. So it's just, I think my concern is that because of this game, the way it is, and the way it's being developed, how long? That's my biggest concern. How long is the wait? You know, if you're telling me the wait is 2 to 3 years, that's a lot to wait for a game like this. If you're telling me it's like every 6 months you'll get a DLC download for the next chapter, that's fine, as long as they release it consistently. Now, I don't know if this is because this game has taken a long time to develop and they're at a point where they're like, you know what, we don't really want to make people wait anymore because it's been 5 years. I'd rather wait another 5 years for the full release. I'll be honest. I'd rather wait another 5 years and them give me 4 Blu-ray discs to play the goddamn game. But I can't say that I'm upset about it coming out next March. So I'm super excited for the game. We're going to keep an eye on it. This is one of the games I'm going to kind of focus on from now to its release because I'm a big Final Fantasy VII fan. This is just a great experience. Final Fantasy VII is the kind of game, RPG, because I love RPGs. And since its release, up to this point, I've never found a game quite like it. It's been the standard of RPG games for me to play, like, comparison, and there is no comparison. There have been some RPGs that have come out that I absolutely adore about as much as Final Fantasy VII, but they're obviously very different. Like the Dragon Age games, Dragon Age 7, actually I've played almost all of them, but even the most latest one, which I beat recently, was just a lot of fun. Other Final Fantasy games, I was big on Final Fantasy 15. I thought it was a fantastic game. I am a big fan of Final Fantasy X. I love Final Fantasy 12. I love Final Fantasy 9. So, and then other RPGs outside of that. I remember when I first played Oblivion. That was one of my first-person RPGs that I played on a computer. And it was phenomenal. It was a great game. Love it. And ever since then, I've been with the Elder Scrolls. So even though I played Final Fantasy before Final Fantasy VII, I played Final Fantasy II and I played Final Fantasy III for the Super Nintendo. Final Fantasy VII was the one that opened the floodgates for me, and I just fell in love with the RPG genre, and that's always been my go-to genre if I'm going to pick a game. And while I play other genres like shooters and things like that, and multiplayer games, RPGs I always go back to first. And Final Fantasy VII just opened the floodgates for me to play other games and try other new things. And since then, I've fell in love with games like Skyrim and Oblivion, and I've fallen in love with games like, Divinity Original Sin, Dragon Age, or Dragon Quest. I said Dragon Age. But Dragon Age as well. I meant Dragon Quest. I think I said Dragon Age before, but I meant Dragon Quest. And of course, Dragon Age. I love all 3 Dragon Age games. I have them. I've played them. If it's an RPG, chances are I've played it. So, and there's some that I haven't. There's still a lot that I haven't. Diablo, the RPG action genre, is a genre that I love. I've played all 3 Diablos. So if it's RPG, I'm there, man. But I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye out for Final Fantasy VII and talking about it a lot on this channel because I'm looking forward to it. And I'm certainly as fuck going to stream the goddamn thing when it comes out. So anyway, guys, that's it for this video. We'll talk more about E3 and some other games that I like, and I'll catch up with that, hopefully, if not today, throughout the weekend. There's a lot of stuff I got to catch up on, and I just can't film that much content in one day, but I'll try to get as much done as possible. But anyway, that's it for this. You guys leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new here, please hit the subscribe button. You'll have a lot of fun here at E.T.N. We have a great community. We talk a lot about different kaiju. If you're a big kaiju fan, that's like the big thing here. But of course, there are other entertainment-related topics we like to discuss, and we want to have you here to join us in the discussion. So, this is Rob signing off for E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching E.T.N. Click here to watch more content. Don't forget to leave a comment. Also, make sure you like and share this video. If you want to know when the next video is up, click the notification bell next to the subscribe button. And most of all, make sure to click that subscribe button for regular content.